Hello there. I made some witches hats and they turned out so great, and you won't believe they're made out of a lot of just leftover stuff, so can't wait to share them with you. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and let's jump into the craft room. For the first hat, I have this cone here. This has been in my stash for many years. It doesn't matter how many moons because, yeah, anyways. I was making witches hats, I want to say, I can't remember how many years ago. I had it apparently glued to some cardboard or something right here. I don't know what that used to be. And then I took it apart apparently, and I put this cone in my leftover bin of forgotten projects that I started and never stopped. Because again, I'm not a Halloween person. This was a Halloween-ish thing I was going to do. So what I do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a hat out of it. So what I need to do is we're going to make a brim. So instead of using a thicker structure, like I could have easily used this wood round, but I wanted it to be kind of like a floppy sun hat brim kind of sort of feel, which it doesn't even get that way anyways. I could have used this structured one, but anyways, why not use some recycled pieces of cardboard? These are mailers that I got some stencils in a little while back. I like to keep some of the thicker cardboard pieces, not the real thick like cardboard box pieces, but these are like nice thicker envelope mailers that you get. So I just traced out two of them. I'm going to cut them both out. Doesn't have to be neat and tidy as much as you want it to be. I do usually. And then once I get them cut out, we're going to glue them together. And some of this sticks, some of it doesn't, but we're going to paint it black so it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. But here I'm going to start manipulating it and kind of bending it and moving it. And it's at first you can see I'm being a little bit nice to it. And then I'm going to start just bending its life out of it. I'm putting creases in it. I'm putting all kinds of stuff in it. None of this shows by the end of the time. By the time we're done, none of this shows. But I did want it to be a little bit more softer, a little more malleable. Because again, this project, once I'm done, I did not glue it to anything or glue a stake in the middle of it. I kind of just left it. That it could be added to anything. It could be added to a pumpkin, an arrangement. It could be added to anything at this point. So what I did was, after I was happy with the abuse that I took out on the cardboard to put the creases and all the bending and the bending and there at one point I did tear it a little bit. Anyways, all the love I put into it, I'm going to paint it black with just some chalk paint, just generic chalk paint I have in my stash. Both sides. And on the edges. Some of the edges do kind of pop open, but we fix that with some hot glue. You'll see that in a second. Here's where I'm going to bend it a little bit more after we've already painted it. I like it to be chipped and creased and all that, but this is what I mean right here. I'm just going to put in the pieces where I see it popping out. I tried to get as much black paint in the creases as I could. And again, after I put the little ruffles on it, you don't really see the edges of this at all. So keep that in mind if you're going to duplicate, at least in the way I'm doing it here. It doesn't matter. Now I'm going to try to find the center, which is a funny thing because I'm not a measurer person, but I did get a ruler out, so that counts, right? I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife and put like a little X in the middle of it, and then I'm going to get like a little skewer type thing and just kind of make a hole so that later we can put this in at the very end. You see them there? I'm playing around, just twirling it. And now I'm going to try to find the center again. Notice this time I'm not measuring because that's how professionals do it. So I just have this is a white chalk marker because I didn't think anything else would show up. But I'm going to start with this. I believe this is 3.5 inch or 3-inch burlap, black burlap. This roll specifically is from Michael's. I ran out of my stuff from Hobby Lobby, which I believe is 6 inches. So this is like 3 or 4 inch wide burlap, black burlap. Doesn't matter what width it is because it depends on how far back off the brim you're putting it. Now you can see the brim underneath it of the hat that you can see the hat underneath through the burlap there. I'm putting ruffles in it as I go. This is not a wired piece, so it's a little bit harder. We do put a wired ribbon on last as the third one, and that one we just pull on the wire. I'll show you that when we get there. But for this one, I am just putting the ruffles in as I go. There was a lot of finger burning. There was a lot of mess. Don't worry about any of this because all of that it will be covered. So if you're worried, there's all the glue strings and then all the pieces where I'm sticking my fingers is turning white. You could also heat it back up. I didn't want to put a heat gun on cardboard, because of the whole, arson. Forget I said that. Fire thing. That's kind of like not a good idea. So I just left it there and we're going to cover most of it. Now this is a 2.5 inch wide burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree actually. And we're going to do the same thing except for we're putting on a second layer. So I'm putting it just above where the black burlap went in just to give it a layered look. I'm getting close to the circle in the middle. Again, it's a guide. It's not necessarily a rule. There are no rules in my craft room. There are no rules where the struggle bus happens. You know what I'm saying? Because when you put rules in, that's when things don't go right. And you have to break them all. And then you have to explain yourself. And when I have to explain myself, I just say because I wanted to. And it was pretty and it made me happy. So that's where we're going. Same thing. I'm putting the ruffles in myself. I'm just gluing down pieces and I'm squishing it and then putting more glue, squishing it, more glue, as you can see here. Now, for the third ribbon, we're going to put it on after we put our cone back. So the witch's hat's going to take place. The construction will happen here. This is the third ribbon we're going to use. It is wired. But first, let's put the hat together because I want to glue this around the edge of the actual, the cone part of the hat. And I didn't get a chance to show you how I covered this because this was made so long ago, but on our second little mini hat that I'm going to make, I'm going to show you me wrapping that one because it's basically just a styrofoam cone. I wrapped this black one with sisal cord, and then I spray painted it. So that's why you're seeing that color and this texture. That's sisal cord. Now for this particular ribbon, this last ribbon here, you can see it is a wired ribbon. We're going to take one side of the ribbon and we're just going to pull it. This is going to create our ruffle for us, so we don't have to manually do it anymore. So I'm just pulling enough of it, and I'm going to speed this up for a second so you don't actually have to watch the painful process of pulling all of the ruffles one to the side. Once I get to a certain amount that I think is what I want, I'm going to try to then just, measure and see if I have enough to go around the hat, and then I'll show you how I secure it once I cut it, just to make sure that you don't just pull the wire right straight out the other end, because I have done that many times. So here's where I'm just kind of adjusting it and seeing what I have. I'm going to cut this other end, but then I'm going to show you here. I pull the wire out, and then I'm going to get my little needle nose nipper plier tooly professional word insert here thingies. And I'm going to twirl the wire into a little circle, and then I'm just going to bend it on itself. So basically I'm putting a crimp in it after I've curled it, and that ribbon, that's not going to come out of the ribbon now. No worries, it won't pull right out the other side. So after you do this and you show it to the camera 5 different angles for 20 minutes, isn't that great? Excuse the little tipper tappers. Those are Zoe. She is my little elderly girl. If you've been with me for a while, you know how old Zoopy is. Zoopy's been with me for a very long time. She is apparently doing her getting up and wandering around the house for 2 hours before she naps for another 9. So that's what you're hearing in the background, all the little tippy-tappy toenails. Now, we're ready to secure the ruffle ribbon around the brim, around the cone part, the main part of our hat. So again, with the same premise, we're just going to put a little hot glue thing all the way around. What I did here was, I wanted to make sure I had the ruffles even enough, so I just pushed this first part down, and I'm holding it down until it solidifies or it kind of cools off enough to where this piece isn't going to come off, because again, my glue gun has 2 settings. It's, liquid, hot magma, or, not on. So just got to wait for it to cool off just a little bit. And then here you can see I'm going to arrange it around the hat and make sure I have the ruffles at least kind of even, not even, but at least distributed so there is a ruffle. You don't want any flat spots. Most of this we are going to cover because we are going to tuck in so much stuff. I mean, be prepared. If you know me, I will add so much to this that you won't even see about 40% of what we just did. But it's pretty because it's layers. It's meant to complement each other. It's not 100% supposed to show everything that you put in neat and tidy in a little row. That's not how we do stuff. We do stuff in a glorious, beautiful, messy pile of goodness. Yeah. Happiness, fun time. Yeah. So I'm kind of moving the brim around at the bottom. Again, doesn't matter per se. And then this is our meat and potatoes. So I need to get just a tiny piece of styrofoam. So I got my styrofoam junk bucket because I have many junk buckets. So I have little pieces of styrofoam left over, but I don't need anything this big. I don't want to use the white styrofoam because it makes my eye twitch. Don't know even why I saved it, because even look there, I hate it. And yet I didn't throw it out. Here, this little piece here. It's weird, it's odd shaped, but it works because I don't need that much and I don't got to cut it. So we're going to take this little weird piece here and we're going to glue along the side so it goes up against the cone part of the hat. And then also on the bottom, we're going to glue it to the top of the gray ribbon. Place it anywhere you see fit. I kind of put it a little bit too much towards the seams in the back. Again, these are small details that don't matter. These are just me being critical of myself, that's all. No worries, just moving on. Now I'm going to take some Spanish moss, very messy, but also very effective. And also this is like just the natural color of it. It's very, very good for spooky time. This is a very good color for anything for Halloween. And I'm kind of making just like a little tube or a little snake out of it with my hands. And I'm going to wrap this around the brim. I'm tucking it between our ruffle that we glued down on the gray ribbon and the actual, you know, cone meat and potatoes part of the hat. And then we're going to just dab in glue here and there. We're going to just keep fussing with it and messing with it and making sure it at least has some contact. We're going to be tucking all kinds of stuff in here with glue. We're going to be tucking all kinds of things on top. And so it doesn't necessarily need to be tacked down 100%. So, you know, be sparing with the glue at first because we're going to be sticking all kinds of stuff in here. So no worries about it falling out or not being attached. But I put some little dabs here and there around the brim. And then I'm just taking my little silicone little tool here just squishing that down in there. Now here's another piece. Normally I don't put glue on here, but because I don't have my 100% idea, you know, solid yet, I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue and then cover up that piece of styrofoam just in case I decide to go minimalist, which we know that's not going to happen. And then I felt like I needed to put just a tiny little bit of messy moss right here at the top because I wanted to. Yeah, that's why. And it made me happy. What is the best reason in the craft room? Why did you do that? Because I wanted to. What do you guys think? I like it. So yeah, we are just going to keep adding and adding. This is not even the tip of the iceberg yet, guys. I love how they turned out. And again, I've said it many times in many of my videos. I'm not a Halloween person. I don't decorate for Halloween. I am a fall person. But, you know, Halloween goes along with fall. We get punkies year round, and it's kind of my jam. So I like to create for all types of seasons, all types of styles. Obviously, my favorite, my own personal preference comes through in my projects and my creations myself. That will happen with all of you. You know, you'll see your own preference pop through in a lot of things you make. But I really do enjoy just creating things. And I know so many people in my life who are mainly Halloween people, and they would love all this stuff. So it's like you have the idea, and then you're kind of channeling the friend or the person that you want to make it for. Now I have this is the Hobby Lobby black burlap I used up in my last videos. That's all I have left of it. So I just kind of pulled it out and then I gathered it in the middle. And then I'm going to mess with it for about, I don't know, 2 days because apparently I can't just stop at one point and not worry about the fact that it's curling on me. And this is a leftover piece of jute cord. Again, I used in my last video. And again, I wanted to take a lot of remnant pieces, a lot of junk stuff, a lot of things you'd normally throw out or put in buckets to save for later. I'm really working on using up my remnants, using up my, you know, throwaways, or like I say, using up my junk bucket pieces. This was still out on the table from the last video, so I wanted to just make a simple little bow. The black burlap is going to mesh in with the other burlap that we have on the brim of the hat. That's not a worry. But then I realized here as I'm trying to mess with it, I just stuck my fingernails through there and I made like these holes, and it kind of looked very even more spooky and, you know, Halloween-y. Technical term there, Halloween-y. Now I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to secure the middle of this. We're going to take some jute and we're going to wrap it around to hide that zip tie, but I just wanted to get a good secure piece around the middle and then cut it at a diagonal because we're going to use the zip tie like we did on our last video for the wreath. We're using the zip tie as a pick. So now here's just a piece of random jute. I'm going to get all the fuzzies off of far, and I'm going to start to wrap the middle of this to hide the zip tie. That's all this is. This is not functional at all. It's aesthetic, to make sure that you don't see the zip tie in the middle. That's all we're doing. So I just started wrapping it. I'm holding it with my left hand, and then once I get a good coverage that I feel is fine, I'm going to flip it back over and then just secure it on either side with a little bit of hot glue and your fingers. I've been more and more brave lately. Now this is my smaller tip. This is a precision tip glue gun. It does not get as hot. It still burns. Let me tell you. I mean, I still feel it. I might not have fingertips, but I still have feeling in my fingers, and it burns, but it's not as bad. So you just kind of stick your finger in there. But okay, yeah, I did. I used my little silicone spatula on a couple things, so I didn't 100% just go at it. But after you cut off those extra little pieces, then we have just a little random bow. Now the bow is not going to be the focal point. The focal point is going to be all of it. So I have these Little, again, everything is a remnant from something I've used before. This was actually part of a green hydrangea bush, and I just used the last of it in our last video for the little square wreaths I made. These little extra pieces of the greenery in it were just the right color of green. It's like the almost olivey, ferny green color that's like, just shows the cusp of the season of everything kind of, dying. I like that almost dead look, but that's what we're going for this aesthetic. We're going for, I called this one the dark garden witch. I don't know. I began, the soap opera was forming in my mind as I was making it. I'm like, this is my dark garden. Do you make up stories when you're making your stuff? Do you have like my mom, we used to do that when I was little, when we go people watching, like we'd be at Disneyland and we would just see a group of people and we would make up like, okay, they're a group of friends. They're out for the weekend. I do this all the time when I'm out and about, when I'm shopping, when I'm crafting, especially, I'm making up stories about my creations. It's very weird, I think, but tell me if I'm alone on that. Do you make up stories? And like, that's why I call it my crafting soap opera. Please insert soap opera here. Please make sure they are appropriate, but leave them in the comments, because if they're not appropriate, then go ahead and DM me. It's fine. But anyways, in the comments, do you make up stories? This is my dark garden witch. Now, I have some more stuff here. These two things at the top, these are the top right. That's a barley and some baby's breath from Hobby Lobby. And then this little bush here is some fall leaves I have had for so many years. Those I got at Michael's. And if you see here, if you take 1 or 2 leaves off at a time, you will have a bundle that will last you forever. And I'm not kidding. I have had that for years. So these little black sprigs that you see me adding in, those are bundles of I want to say they're eucalyptus or something. I got them off of Amazon. So if you want to take a peek in my Amazon shop, there is a link in my description and the first pinned comment below that'll take you right to it. You're going to look at project supplies. I bought them, I believe, either last year or the year before that, and I got them in black. They come in a bunch of different colors, and I got them in all black, and they just work for everything spooky. And then this is just actual leftover Amazon eucalyptus. These little like olivey, weird green, dusty looking ones. I had like 4 pieces left over on a sprig. I cut them off. And then again, all this is just adding in things where I see fit. This is all like, taking it, testing it out, pushing it in there. I like it. All right, I'm going to glue it. I'm going to commit. And that's all I'm doing, is just adding things in. But if you've seen me do this many times, I love to create these arrangements, but at the same time, it's almost like I'm building a collage. That's like the best way I can think. My mind goes towards building a collage and building an even centerpiece or an arrangement of some sort. So I added a leaf and another little black sprig back here. And periodically, I'm going to stop and show you how things look and how I'm going with them. And anywhere else I can add what my brain seems to think here. Now, this right here, I think, is where the squishy feeling happens. That Hobby Lobby baby's breath is like a dark olivey green color. I got like 3 different colors the last time I went to Hobby Lobby. I normally get the white or the cream, but I got like a lightish tan color and this olive green color, and it was so pretty, and the movement looks so great on it. And I think it's like, wow, I say I'm not into Halloween and I don't decorate for it, but I want to keep all these things and put them out. But then literally nothing will look, nothing will match. It's weird. It would be, I'm weird with the pumpkins, okay? And I'm willing to accept that. I don't have to explain it to anybody. You come to my house and you see pumpkins in April and May, it's because you know me. Then again, you're not going to be in my house anyways unless you know me, or unless I have to have like, someone come work on the dishwasher or something. And then they're like, why does this girl have all these pumpkins out? Like, because I like them. But I was just wanting to keep this, and it's so pretty. Now I'm stealing little parts off of the pics too. You saw I just glued that little single piece of barley back in there. And this is what we're at so far, but I'm like, it's not Halloweeny yet. Yes, it's a witch's hat, but it's not Halloweeny yet. Now, I lost some footage. I was having problems with my Wi-Fi keeping my camera control. I control my camera with a tablet, and the tablet was losing Wi-Fi. So now you're seeing that there were no recording of me adding these little skulls in. These little skull beads I got off of Amazon a couple years back, and I used them in a lot of my Halloween goodies. They are absolutely very, very, very just... I don't know how to explain it. The aesthetic is not too creepy. It's not scary. It's just right, like a dark apothecary look. They're very elegant. I don't want to use the word high end or anything, because it kind of just adds a little bit too much of like I'm trying too hard, but they look really great. You don't have to do much with them. They're not crazy detailed either, but you get the idea that they're just tiny little skulls. So I'm just, again, adding more gobbledygook here and there. I'm adding another leaf and another black pick to the back of it. And then I wanted to tuck in just a few more little, what I call surprise skulls. Also right here, you just saw, I stole a piece of barley from underneath one side of the bow, and then I stuck it on the back. So you see off to the top right there, that is the little bag that you get from Amazon. I'm just pulling them off of the fishing wire they come on, and I'm tucking them down into the Spanish moss, usually by some of the leaves. I'm going to show you in a second too. And then also when I'm in my garage where I take things in my studio lights, I'll show you a close-up of where I tucked in those little surprise skulls. Now for this one, again, lost footage. My Wi-Fi decided to leave me. Now I put the skewer in. That is not permanent. It's not glued in. And this is a Dollar Tree carvable pumpkin. This is just a holder. It's already black. I'm not going to do anything to it. Again, not glued in, so that if you choose to, you can change this out. You can add this permanently to a pumpkin or to an arrangement or to anything that makes you happy. Or you can just lay it flat on the table, put it on a candlestick, whatever makes you happy. But this is where we're at. So here's where I put 3 skulls at the bow. And then here's our arrangement. And there's our first little surprise skull. And then our second little surprise skull. Because technically if you're going to use it as a centerpiece, that's going to face the back. You're not going to see it. But if you have something where you kind of see all angles of it, then that's where you get your little surprises in. So there's your hat. I love how she looks. I love how it turns out. Again, I'm sorry about the Wi-Fi and the footage. I have to check out. My camera might be seriously old. I don't know. We'll have the husband figure that out. That's what I call his job. So here's all of the end product. I love the colors mixed together. I love how the Spanish moss adds that messy look, but then gives you the vibe that it all goes together. It's all supposed to go together. And here I'm trying to get, like, let's squeeze it in, like, get back there a little bit further. There's that other skull. And here I took another video, you'll see right here in a second, of, in the garage here, under the studio lights. Oh, and there's my little surprise bundle of sticks we made in the last video. Isn't it cute? Just as an aesthetic for pictures, like little set the mood. Now, here's where I'm just gonna turn this for you so you can take a peek at it. I didn't really get good footage of me doing that in the craft room. And sometimes I don't think you can see things because the lights in my craft room were not showing up. These skulls have a nice little like brown shading look to them. But look how cute they are. So you got the 2 little hidden guys and then you get the 3 little guys here in the middle of the bow. Look how cute. I love it. I love it. And again, I want to keep it, but I'm not. She's so pretty. Tell me your thoughts. Now, we're going to make a second little mini hat. Now, this was specifically for the purposes of me showing you how I wrap a cone. A lot of you guys know how to do all this. This isn't anything new, but here's these little, I'm not even know how big they are. I get them off of Amazon. Again, linked in my Amazon shop. What I'm going to do while I'm wrapping it, I want to paint it first, so I'm sticking a skewer in the bottom, and I'm going to take some just generic black chalk paint, and I'm putting a black base on it because for any reason, you don't want the white to show through if you're trying to do something that has, darker muted colors. So, and at this point, I thought I was going to go black again, but I didn't. Now, this is a little Dollar Tree sign, and I'm only going to steal one of the little circles off of it here because I'm going to use this as the brim of my hat. So this actually can be affixed to a candle holder, or it could just be sat, in your vignette, tabletop decor, tiered tray if you're still into tiered trays. I know a lot of people say tiered trays are out. Then again, I don't subscribe to what people say is in and out. I do what makes me happy. But we're going to take this one little circle off of that. So I still have 2 more. And I was thinking about making little pumpkins out of them. You might see that in another video because, again, I am so just ready to keep... I'm still recording, you guys. I'm trying my best to get these out as fast as I can. But anyways, for this, we have the one little circle. I'm going to cover it in the same black chalk paint. Back and front and sides. And we're going to cover it all 100%. Once everything's dry, we got our little cone painted, and then we got a little circle. I'm going to take my finger sander to our brim here, this little circle sign, because there were a few parts of it where the little paper decoration was off a little bit. So all I'm doing is just taking that off. But I'm also making a little bit of a distressed edge to it. And you're going to see this because it's, I don't cover it 100%, but then I went to my stash and I have this garden jute twine. I got this at Lowe's. I got 2 of them. I couldn't tell you how much I paid for it, but it couldn't have been more than a couple bucks. But I decided I'm going to go green on this, and that's when the whole whimsical forest thing took place. So here's my story for this one. This is my whimsical forest witch's hat. I want to put botanicals, and I'm going to put a pumpkin, and I'm going to put a mushroom in here. And I'm telling you, once again, guys, My painting skills are featured in the fact that I can paint something solid and then put little dots on it and be so proud of it. Let me tell you, because I am not a painter, so I can't wait. Also, if you saw the thumbnail or the pictures on Instagram, you'll see how I did a close-up on that little pumpkin, and it is adorable. I can't help it. So back to the task at hand. All I'm doing is I'm starting at the top. Now, I left a loose piece of twine at the top because I didn't know I was going to be putting pip berries on there in a crazy way. So my first plan here is to leave this little long piece off at the top because it's kind of crazy. It's kind of messy. It's kind of like, crazy forest witch hat. It's the one you see in the forest that's running around with all kinds of stuff and squirrels in her pockets. Insert whatever you can here from many movies we've all seen. And here all I'm doing is once I get it started with the glue at the top, I'm just going to keep twisting it. And I'm only putting enough pressure to make sure that it lines up underneath the piece that I just wrapped. So you can guide it with your fingers. You know how much tension, you'll eventually feel it in your hands. It's not something that takes a lot of pressure, so don't pull too tight because number one, you'll snap, and this is a smaller cone, you'll snap the styrofoam in half, and number two, you'll start to dig into it. You'll see that if the paint cracks, you'll see the white come through. You'll know when you're doing it. This is not a difficult process at all. It might be a little time consuming depending on what you choose to wrap it with. This is not a very thin jute twine. It's decent. I mean, it's not rope either. That nautical rope from Dollar Tree is very thick. You'd be able to wrap something in a few minutes. Like, again, I did this pretty quickly too. I'm speeding it up here now because it's pointless to have you watch me do the entire thing very slowly. But I'm only you see me, I'm only adding glue periodically, and I'm doing it in different parts here and there. It's not going to come apart. It'll be fine. So no worries. And I'm only going to take the twine down to the end of the cone, but we're not going to cut it off. So here's what I got. Now the top, yes, you can see the black on it because I planned on putting some Spanish moss up there. Funny thing is this project ends with no Spanish moss whatsoever. So I'm also kind of proud of that too. Now, once I find the center, I'm going to glue the main part of our cone down right to the top of the brim. And then we're going to continue wrapping our jute twine around the base just for a little bit. I'm not going to cover the full brim. First I thought I would, but then I was like, you know what? I kind of like the two-tone. I like the dark olive green with the black because it's still going for a dark theme, still going for, Halloween, or I guess you could say Halloween. I love the way this looks. If it was left out year round, it's very, if you're into like those, there's fairies, there's garden fairies with mushrooms and flowers. I stick a pumpkin in here because that's how I do it. Also, we're going for Halloween anyway, so I thought I could get away with it. And then also, if there's anything you can think of that you would add to it, let me know because, we're not doing springtime, so a ladybug. Sure, I could have probably put a ladybug in there. I have little tiny wooden ladybugs and little tiny wooden bumblebees, but this one I want to stay more dark. I want to stay more Halloween. That type of feel. So here you see I keep adding just little bits of hot glue, and then I just kept twisting around the base until I built it up enough with the glue and the twine to where I was happy. And then I cut it off and I finished it. And this is our hat. Now you can stop here if you just want very simple rudimentary hat. You could put a ribbon at the bottom, maybe something like a button or a bow, and you're good to go. But I'm not going to do that. So here is our very cute little plain wooden mushrooms. I got them from Dollar Tree. I have two kinds. I went for this one because it's kind of pointy. Now I'm going to start out with some acrylic paint and the burnt sienna. I'm going to paint the base of it. So this is our little stem. I don't know if pumpkins. I don't know if mushrooms are this color. Okay. We're not going for realistic. We're going for just cute. Okay. So I'm not really even, I couldn't care what they really look like in real life because this just made me so happy. So I did about 2 coats here. It dries very fast. It's a very thin amount, very small amount of paint. After we got our little stem painted, I'm going to go at the top. I'm going to stay with the green theme, and I'm going to use an olive green and a celery green. Now I'm going to paint the main part of the top of our mushy with the olive green. And this takes probably, it dries while you're painting it. So I would say maybe 2 coats, but just keep going at it till you don't see the wood anymore, if that's what you want. I did not distress this cute little mushy. I did not add wax. I didn't add anything to it. Remember, we're using acrylic paints. Again, if your projects are going to get wet, we might need to rethink where we're putting them because there's no need to worry about sealing this. my little boys here, Cosmo and Henry, are going to start playing on the floor. So you might hear a little, some Chewbacca noises and some grunting and some squeeching. That's the boys playing, just so you know. They're still puppies. Now, after you paint the top of that with olive green, I went back in with a dotting tool. A stylus. I don't know what you call them. I call these a dotting tool because back in the 90s, this is what you put little dot daisies on your fingernails with. Now I'm going to use this little stylus here, and I'm just going to randomly put dots. And then I'm going to wipe off the big end, and I'm going to flip it around here and use the smaller end. And I'm only going to accent the big dots with a few small dots around it. And let me tell you how proud I am of myself with this. Let me tell you, I have pat myself on the back. If you had asked me to do this a year ago, I'd be like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, you want me to paint it? Then you want me to put dots on it? And you want me to put it? Oh, I don't know if I could do that. I stopped questioning myself and just said, go for it. Sometimes the beauty lies in the mistakes, but look how cute it is. It's so cute. I want to squeeze it. I just can't help it. It's a cute little wooden mushy. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm excited over it. Do you get that way when you make something and you're like, I made this. It's so dang cute. I'm going to sell it for $150,000. But we can settle right now for $20. Kidding. Now, these are the accents we're going to add. So we got our hat, we got our mushy. These little wooden leaves came from Dollar Tree. This one I had actually stained on one side for another project. Didn't use it, stuck it back in the bag. We're going to use it for this one. And then I've got this pipberry garland. I got this from Craft Outlet years ago on clearance because I guess nobody liked that mustard color. And then we're going to use some of these little, styrofoam berry parts. We're going to literally Frankenstein it. We're going to cut them all a piece. Those are from Hobby Lobby. And now these two guys, these are some resin pumpkins. I got like a pack of 200 of them from Amazon. We're going to use a little fat squishy one. And then here is some string, paper string. We're going to use that. That's from Amazon. We're going to make a bow out of that. Now first, I'm going to add our berry garland. Again, this color was so weird to me. And when I bought it a few years back, I can't remember when. I got it for, guess how much? I got it for $1.25. So I got it for Dollar Tree prices, but I think I bought like 4 of them. And I got like, I don't know how many feet each. I had 4 of them. I have a lot of it. Because at the time I was like, $1.25, you can't beat that price. Because normally it was like $2 or $3.99. Now, I made a little hole with a skewer. And I'm going to stick one end of that garland in at the bottom. This is also where we're going to hide this. So again, if it's not neat and tidy, no worries. We're going to put all kinds of stuff in front of it. You won't see it. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to start just kind of naturally twisting it around the hat. And this is where you're going to just kind of let your creativeness come through. You're going to find out where do you want it to sit? How do you want it to attach? It doesn't have to be even, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not going for perfection. We're going for messy, beautiful chaos. And that's pretty much how I craft. That's everything I make is a messy, beautiful chaos. And then in the end, it turns out beautiful. Because I'm like halfway through, it's like, this is absolutely just a bowl of, craziness. And then I'm like, well, I don't know should I even show this to people? And then I do, and everything works out great. So back to the task at hand. I put a little tendril at the top. All I did was I just rubbed it around my, sorry, one moment. Do you hear that? Cosmo, are you digging in the carpet? I don't care how cute you are. You stop that. And then he comes over here and I pet him because he's adorable. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm not cutting that out. It's just, it is what it is. This is life. I have dogs. Some of you have kids. Some of you have I have a husband too. But anyways. So as you see, I put a tendril at the top of the hat and then I attached it so it kind of looks a little crazy. Then I also rolled down that little extra piece of twine there too so that it stays in there. And now for, you saw I actually pushed in on the side of the styrofoam so I could have, enough room there to put in our mushroom and our pumpkin. And now for the pumpkin, they come with this ugly, weird green color and they're horribly painted. It's a mass-produced piece of resin made in China. I got a bag of 200 or 100 of them. I can't remember how much. So again, we're not looking for perfection. I just wanted the little punkies. So I took some acrylic paint in the color brown or real brown or whatever it said there. And I have a little tiny fine tip paintbrush. And I just went at that stem and then I decided to get a little bit more creative because, after my confidence boost of being able to put those little dots on the top of a wooden mushroom, I was like, I'm going to add some accents to the creases of this pumpkin. And I like it. It's messy and it looks good when it's all said and done and dried. It took a little, generic plastic. No, it's not plastic, it's resin, but a little generic, badly painted, pumpkin, and it's just so cute. So sometimes it's like if the devil's in the details. If you're not into details, skip all this. This is where I guess this is where I start to get all that happy squishy feeling. I love adding all these little things in and making these little collages. There's so many things that grab your eye. There's so many things to look at. And that's basically what I enjoy. When I have a piece that I've made or that I bought, you see something in the store, you want to place it on your desk or out in your living room, on the end table, a nightstand, somewhere that you usually sit and you see things and it makes you smile. That's what this is about. So I cut the piece off of one of those older picks that was left over. This is a Hobby Lobby pick, and I kind of just glued that at a diagonal. Now, I want our mushroom to sit diagonally. I don't want it to be straight up and down. So in order to build that up, I'm going to put a little glob of glue here, and then I'm going to let it kind of dry. Not 100%, but again, because my hot glue gun is like, burn your finger off hot, I'm going to let it sit for a minute. I'm going to take my little blow dryer here and kind of dry it just a little bit just to get it really tacky, because I don't want it to squish down. I want it to be hard enough to where it's going to prop up the bottom of our mushroom. And you're going to see here in a second. There won't be any gaps or anything. So we're going to add some more glue here and we're going to put the mushroom in there and I'm just going to hold it. I'm not going to squish it down. I'm just going to hold it. And I'll show you here at the angle that we're doing it. So this is where we're at. So you can see here on the side, it's filled in. Now I'm using this opportunity while this glue is still somewhat tacky, and I'm going to grab things over here, add a little bit more, but I'm going to grab something off to the side here, and you'll see me just use my nippers because I don't have another hand, and I'm just going to start tucking things in. And I'm cutting it off of the bush with one hand, and I'm still holding my pumpkin. No, it's not a pumpkin. I am programmed to say the word pumpkin. That's just life. Now I'm going to add these little things in with one hand while I'm waiting for the glue under the mushroom to get a little bit more tacky, a little bit more solid. And here I was just we'll say dry fitting or testing out the pumpkin, and it still got it stuck to some of the glue in the back by the cream colored little berries. So I went with it and I just added some more glue underneath it. And that became her home. Look how cute she is. It's so cute. Now don't worry about anything else. If you can see glue, if you can see, where things are going in and where they're attached, we are going to continue to just keep building this up and adding more goop. Now, I'm adding my little wooden leaf in, just one little accent wooden leaf. Now that is, again, the stained side forward, because that's something I did earlier. And now you'll see me literally cut little pieces off and just add them here and there. This is what some of the tinier, smaller details are. This is where all the fun is for me. This is where I love the process. This is where I shine. It's so cute and so much fun. Sorry guys, I have a wiener dog on my lap right now, so you might hear some snoofing. If he sniffs the microphone, that's not me breathing in your ear. It's my dog. Hey, Cosmo. Okay, get down. Okay, now for the side, I'm adding one of the green leaves here off of this bundle. This bundle off to the right, you'll see here, that's from Hobby Lobby. They come out with mostly the same stuff each year. This was a smaller bundle. I don't know that they have them, but they always have that one aisle of just a bunch of smaller picks for fall and Thanksgiving. This is where you would find that bundle. They have like sunflowers and pumpkin picks and berries and all that. This is where I got that. Also, that's where the barley is. And I love the Hobby Lobby barley. I've seen barley other places, but for some reason that brown barley that they sell every fall, I end up buying maybe 5 to 10 little bundles of it because I love using it. And here I wanted to add a little bit more, just another tendril or two. So, yes, Cosmo. He's going to start whining. Sorry, guys. I made a little tendril with the skewer, cut a piece off, wrapped it around there. I'm going to pull it off, and I'm going to tuck it into the side of the arrangement here so it kind of looks like it's just kind of tying in the piece that looks like it grew around the hat. We're going to have a little accent piece come out. Now, I have a bunch of glue here, so I'm taking my skewer and I'm digging in between the plastic of our little berry pick thing there, and then also into the styrofoam of the hat behind it. And this is where I kind of have to get a little bit of elbow grease in there, but I did get a hole big enough, and then I put some glue in it, and then we're adding the little tendril we made. I also did make a second tendril that we end up putting up at the very top, but I'll show you that in a second because that was an afterthought. Here I want to show you how I cut this piece off. Then I cut that little tiny weird piece off underneath it. I was like, this is going to be perfect to cover up the base part right here that you can still see. And first I lost it. I was like, oh, nope, it's under the hat. And then you'll see me tuck it in here at the base. And that's just one of those things where you look for things to cover up pieces to make it look kind of, cohesive, like it was meant to be that way, like it grew that way. Not that it was glued that way, that it grew that way. And then here I'm adding the other piece I already cut off. And it's like, why waste it? Let's just add it. Don't put stuff, I wasn't trying to add to my junk bucket, I was trying to take away from it. So I just cut little pieces off and apart. Look how cute it is. And I thought I was going to do a lot of Spanish moss. I didn't. I thought it would be too much. Now here's another little tendril I made. And I'm going to stick that into the top of the hat here. So I'm going to take that little piece of opening here, right where after we glued down the little extra loose piece of jute twine that we left kind of loose at the top. I'm going to just stick a skewer down in there, making a hole big enough so that I can put glue in it, and then nestle the end of this little extra tendril down in there. So I have two little crazy tendrils coming off the top of the hat. And then you'll see top left of the screen over there, well, not top left, but over to the left side, a couple of the pip berries had fallen off of the garland when I was making the tendrils. We are going to use those as well, because I'm nothing if not crazy enough to glue little tiny pieces in. Now here I did use, my pliers just to get that in there, but look how crazy that looks. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? I keep overusing whimsical. It's just very crazy looking. I don't like the word crazy. Just help me find another word. I need a synonym. I need a synonym for crazy, but in a cute way. Now here's where I'm going to use that extra little pip that came off the pip garland. So we're going to glue this pip in. Now first I was like, let me just glue this in and see how it looks, and then I'm going to just try to test it out there, and then we're going to place a little bit of glue and we're going to tuck it right there in the base of the pumpkin. It's not a pumpkin. At the base of the mushroom. Please forgive me for my pumpkin obsession, but I believe you're here. Probably most of you know I am pumpkin obsessed, and a lot of you feel me. We are attracted to each other. We congregate together. We meet on Wednesdays, Spaghetti Wednesdays. Kidding. Anyways, there's a little pip. I put the little pip in there right at the bottom of the mushroom. Isn't it cute? I didn't want to waste anything, so I just added it in. Now I'm going to take the paper string that I got from Amazon, and I'm going to make some bows. Now, at first I thought I was going to do like a little bundle bow, and that's more only just, wrap it around your fingers and then kind of secure it in the middle. But because I'm pulling from the center of this spool of string, it's way too curly, and I wasn't going to straighten it out. So I went with a finger bow. Now, if you've been with me for some time, I have a separate finger bow tutorial. You can slow it down. It's a 5-minute video. It shows you single, multiple, and double loop bows, but also I need to remake it. It's been a few years, but I believe that this is probably the best medium to start with if it looks confusing or kind of hard for you. String or twine is very easy to start practicing with. I practiced for many, 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 many months before I started actually putting them in my videos because I wanted to get really good at it. And I really love the way they look. I look at the classic they have perfect little, I call them chunky loops, and then the center. I love making the finger bows. So again, I still untie them and retie them constantly. Here I kind of manipulated the tails a little bit to put little curls back into them. And again, I digress. The finger bow tutorial is linked in my description below, so you can take a peek and look at it if you want to try to start, doing that. Otherwise, there are many different ways. You could even just do little mini shoelace bows, or there's a way to do them with forks. There's a way to do all kinds of stuff, but this is just the best way I do it. It's fast for me because I've gotten used to it. And here's a close-up of it. It's the 2mm paper string. It is in my Amazon shop if you want to take a peek at that. Also linked in my description and a first pinned comment. I made a second bow. Again, I did 2 double loop bows. I made a second one, and I'm going to glue this one on the top here because I wanted it to I just wanted to add something to the top. And I was like, well, I could have got buttons out, but I wanted this to stay more foresty, more gardeny, more, botanical stuff. I didn't want to put any sure, whimsical buttons would be cute. Because I have some olive green buttons, some little tiny mini buttons, but I felt like for this project, I was going to leave the buttons out, and that would be okay. Now, I didn't add anything else out, but this is all she wrote. Look how cute it is. Why I'm so proud over putting some dots on a wooden pumpkin, I don't know, but it's like one of those things where if you branch out and you do something you're not used to doing and it turns out so cute and it makes you happy, then that's all that matters. And again, painting up that pumpkin made me happy because it matches our project now. Now, these little tendrils at the top, it's wider, so it's going to get moved around a lot, but it's one of those things where I fuss with bows, I fuss with things like that. But look how cute she is. It's so cute. It's so cute. And again, most of this stuff today is all recycled from previous projects and junk piles and junk buckets and, you know, a lot of Dollar Tree things. So, I mean, even again, the bottom part is off of a Dollar Tree sign. I have 2 more circles. I could make 2 more hats. I could make so many hats. I have a lot of those styrofoam cones. I buy them off of Amazon because they're good for Christmas trees, at Christmas, carrots at Easter, witches' hats, or candy corn at Halloween. There's many different projects, many good purposes. You can take a peek, buy them. I get them on Amazon in bulk. So tell me what you think about her, though. I think this one's my favorite. Now, the big one is gorgeous, but this one is my favorite. It's the green, I think. So I have a Ko-fi page. So if you like my videos and you feel like you've learned something and you want to throw a donation my way, anything helps because it helps me continue to buy supplies and keep my channel going. It's not required. It's always appreciated. And if not, my DIYs are for sale there, so you can throw something in and then get something back in return. Never required, always appreciated. And that's it, guys. So with all that said, thank you so much for joining me. If you've been here with me for so long, I appreciate you more than I can say. And for anybody, even if you're new here, I love you more than I can possibly say in words. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.